We have tomato plants.
Yeah.
He'd come down and we'd go up, make it work that way.
So they're telling me it's 5 o'clock.
Sue, she's on, you're good.
I'm ready. I already turned it on.
Going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is 5 o'clock. And Sheena, if you'll open us with prayer.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Let's bow our heads. Father, we thank you for the rain that we've received and the weather that we've had here lately. And we thank you for all of our many blessings. We ask that you're with us this evening, that your guidance gives us wisdom and discernment, that we may make the decisions that are best for Hardy County Schools. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. God,
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Josh, we start with you with introductions.
Josh C.
Sarah Earl.
Sheena Van Meter.
Melvin Shook.
Dixie Dean.
Roy Harper. Doug Hines.
Janet Rose.
Sean Collars.
Okay. And presentations, maintenance and transportation updates.
I reached out to Bluebird today, should have some quotes for new buses soon. I did ask to get AC quotes on those buses as well, so we do with and without AC for those quotes. We did start taking the rock off the top of the middle school, so I have parked some buses down on Main Street. And I've had quite a few compliments, actually. They look nice.
They do look nice.
Yeah, I had quite a few compliments on it. I didn't know how that was really good. Spent most of the day today at the middle school. The boilers are already in place. They removed the ceiling tiles from the hallway, some out of the cafeteria area. We did get approved that we will get all new ceiling tiles.
Correct.
Yes. So that was an issue because the ceiling tiles that were in there didn't match because they were obsolete and we couldn't get them anymore. So that worked out to our advantage as well. The cooling tower, the cooling tower should be gone tomorrow. The crane will be in there tomorrow, so they'll be able to set those big units on the roof. They'll remove the cooling tower and set the new cooling tower all tomorrow. So it's moving along really well. So the only hiccup that we really have right now is the timeline on when the heat pumps will arrive. There's an 8-week window. It should be mid-July if they show up in that 8-week period. So fingers crossed for now, but those guys were saying usually it'd be another 2 or 3 weeks behind that. But I think the plan is if we do run into that they're going to work nights. So the kids can still be in there. They can still have air. They're not going to remove them until they get to them. So remove, replace, and they'll do it, prioritize it and get it in order that way. Yeah.
And they'll work nights.
They'll work nights. Yes. Yeah.
That's good.
Most of my guys are on vacation right now, so I did not have a chance to look at the work orders. So if there's a large number on it, 2 guys are on vacation. We just have to use it or lose it. They usually burn them up. It's raining.
Okay. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
is that rain?
And
It's a shower.
so that number may be high, but when they get back, we'll start knocking them out again. Hayden is back, but he's not back 100%. He still has some restrictions on what he can and cannot do. So
Keep me off the lab.
yeah, he can't climb yet. Still has a week. Yeah, but when those guys come back, we'll start knocking out all those work orders again.
What's going on with the blinds? I know you said you were going to do it this summer
Yeah.
because you had to drill metal.
You do. You have the metal lintels and the drill bits. Actually, those lentils are so thick and that metal is so dense. It's about a drill bit for every blind.
Oh, wow.
So it's quite expensive, but that's the only way to do it is to go into that lintel. Yeah. Yeah.
Did anybody see anything on this work list that they have questions about?
Were we able to change that document, Sean, to where we had the?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is, Hardy County Board of Education and Eastern West Virginia Technical College Partnership for recognition of degrees earned.
Yeah, so unfortunately, neither of the individuals we wanted to recognize this evening are in attendance, but we completed another round of our cohorts where we had the service personnel that were partnering with Eastern to provide those folks the opportunity to earn an associate's degree at no cost to them, and Hardy County Schools is paying for several of those classes. So Christina Coley and Barb Robinson were the two that just graduated. So I think we're up to 12, 14, somewhere in there. And we have a few more finishing in this round. And then we had about 5 interested in starting another round. So it doesn't cost us much at all, a few $1,000s a year, but it's a really good investment in our service personnel. And then those folks get additional pay based upon their college hours. And then of course that additional pay leads into when they retire, they have a higher rate too. So lots of benefits for our employees, but I just wanted to recognize those 2 individuals and congratulate them on completing their associate's degrees. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to continue with the next round and bring another group of folks through if you don't have any objection to that. We'll get those people started too, but I'll make sure they get their certificates and we'll just publicly congratulate them for hard work.
Absolutely. I don't think there were any public comments, were there? Okay. Consent items.
Motion approved.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve and a second for the consent items. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it's approved 5-0. Next, we go to unfinished business, and I think that Sarah handed us out a copy of the expenditures and the bank reconciliation. You want to, what'd Sarah
Are
got?
you with me? Sorry, let me see where we're on that. With me? I'm usually at the second meeting, so I didn't have the bank record, I didn't have the bank statement when we needed to post everything for the meeting. So that's why I handed everything out. I also handed out budget journal entries for you guys as well for approval, and this is the meeting, you'll see on there at some point where we always approve all remaining budget journal entries through June 30. This is the time of year where the state quite often ends up sending out a bunch of fall awards this month of funds that need to be spent. Of course, they have to be budgeted and everything in order for us to accept them. So the expenditure by object, and this is based on just the information that I had in there. So the reconciliation has not been done yet. But if anything changes, I'll bring that back to you guys. I did re-budget some of the expenditures, some items, where we were maybe over budgeted in one area, moved some of those around. You'll see that in some of the budget, at least one of the budget journal entries where I went through and kind of tidied up some of those. And as the encumbrances start to close, we'll have a better understanding or see a better picture of where we are closer to the end of the year. Or as we're getting to the end of the year. That's we're almost there.
Okay.
Do I have any questions about any of that?
You do it fine. I'm gonna give you a grade.
He says that at every meeting, Sarah.
He tells me every
I'm
meeting.
working on it.
You're working on it. You just wait for me to wear blue.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
Hey, you'll definitely get them back.
Okay. Next, approval of staff conflict of interest policy, GBS, attachment 5.
Motion to approve. This is first reading.
No.
No, second.
Approval.
No,
It's
this is
for
fine.
approval. Yeah.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approval of the staff conflict of interest policy, GBS, signify. Aye.
Aye.
And it's approved 5-0. Okay, under new business. Pre-approval of transfers and budget supplements up through June 30th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve, a pre-approval for the transfers and budget supplements through June 30th, 2025. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And it's approved 5-0. We also received the approval of the Hardee County Board of Education meeting schedule for school year 2025-2026. It's attachment 6.
Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Now I have here presentation and approval of architectural firm for East Hardee Elementary School door and window upgrades and Moorfield Middle School's safe school entrance.
And we have Allegra with us today from ZMM.
Okay.
And I provided you guys with the statement of qualifications that they gave us to review.
It says, welcome to Microsoft. I'm still gonna click on the HCBOE. I might, okay, there we go. Perfect. Well, I appreciate you guys letting me present this evening. Again, my name is Allegra Enix, I'm the CNM engineers. So just a little bit about us. We are a full service firm. And so we have been around for quite some time. We're originally based in Charleston, but I'm in the Martinsburg office, and then now we've expanded. We have an office in Marietta, Ohio, and then we have a big office in Blacksburg, Virginia, so that we can serve basically the 81 corridor and all of West Virginia, be able to get to everything. And then our specialty is K through 12. This is just some of our services that we offer. So we're full service, which basically means we don't need a consultant unless it's a specialized item, like if we were doing a big kitchen renovation, we might bring in a consultant for that. But other than that, we can do everything in-house. And we're not necessarily, well, we say that we're all-inclusive, not a la carte. So if we need renderings for a project, if we need to go out and speak to the community, if we need to present to the Word Chain Club, you name it, we'll do it, and we don't charge for anything. We don't charge for prints or, making renderings for you guys to display in the community. So we do everything we can for the client. I'm just gonna go through some of the experience with the secure entrance as it relates to your project. This is in Frederick County, Virginia. And so this school basically, much like Moorfield, you walk right into the school and you were in the school. So this project, we put a whole new handicap ramp on. We put stairs up to it, and then basically you'll see in this picture right here, this is the waiting room. And then you use the transaction window, and that's basically where they hold you. So unless a parent or somebody needs to get into the office, basically you can wait for your child there, and then they bring the child out to you. There's no reason to actually get into the school. So it's very, very safe. And they have in Virginia, particularly Frederick County, they have a raster system. So they use your license and swipe it. So anything comes up that might be a red flag. And so if there's anything like that, you're definitely held there. This is another project in Frederick County. This is kind of similar to your all's project because you can see this box right here. So they kept the main entrance, but then they put the secure entrance on the right-hand side. So when the students come in the morning, they come straight through the doors and they don't have to go through like a side entrance. But as soon as the school starts, the front doors are locked, and then everybody that approaches it, whether it be a student, teacher, doesn't matter, you have to go through the secure entrance. So it makes for a very, very secure place to be. And then the same thing, like if you're in the school and you need to exit, you can go out the front door. Same thing, this is Millbrook, and it's same situation. You can see right here that we were able to tuck it in a little bit better, just the way the nature of the building was. But before that was just this kind of like a dead space beside the entrance. So we were able to basically put a little bit of a sidewalk to it, put the glass there so that it's very visible to the front staff, and people walk up that, push a buzzer, you're allowed in, but you're only held into that certain area. This is in Berkeley County, and we did a whole wing for them, but because the wing, it was gonna be a pre-K plus some other special ed classes going in, they needed kind of a bigger type entrance. So we put this secure entrance on. It's towards the back of the school, so basically we refocused where the main entrance was. So we still have their main entrance on the front with the bus loop, but this became on the back of the school. And you can see the play yard here. So then on the other side of this building is their playground. So the buses come in now on that side, and then the parents use the front loop. So they were able to separate it with this entrance, which made a huge deal for security. And this is Ripley. It's under Ripley Middle School. It's under construction right now. They basically had a situation where it was like a little nook, and you would walk into it to get into the office, but if students need to go to the 8th grade wing of science, they would basically walk out of the building and then go into the gym, even if there was a gym class going on, to go to their 8th grade science. It was the most just crazy design ever. It was piecemealed over the years, so we were able to do a huge gym entrance for them. This is gonna be their new secure entrance. It was over here and it's being moved here. It's currently their cafeteria, so we're doing a new gym entrance, and then that will take their gym into the new gym. Their old gym is gonna become their cafeteria, and their old cafeteria, which is an open plan, is gonna become their STEAM area. So in Ripley, Jackson County, their A is for agriculture. So we incorporated a lot of basically hard surfaces where they could just basically spray them off for soils and all that kind of thing. So you'll see like their Viking head. All this was just graphics. And this is just baffles to hold down the noise. So we're able to do that fairly cheap because it's just graphics on the wall. So it's amazing what you can do with a little bit. But that's our interior team that did all these renderings and was able to sell it to the school board as well as the community to get back behind it. So a little bit about your project. So this just gives you an idea in the Panhandle where we're working now, or items we've done for you in the past. So we did the new Frankfurt Elementary School in Mineral County. Currently we have 8 secure entrances that are under construction in Jefferson County. So that's been an ongoing thing, trying to adjust how students are going to be coming into the building. That's something that we'll work with you guys with once we get a contractor for this project, is how the students will enter and keep it going throughout the school year. So we haven't had any hiccups, and hopefully we won't with this one either. And then this is what we submitted to the SBA. So you'll see the award by funded from Hardee County Schools, and the total funded project is just over 1 million. And so, I'll go to the next one. So this shows you what we have, and this is just what we submitted to the SBA. Once we're selected, then we'll re-meet with you and make sure this is what you want, and then we'll put together drawings so that we can move on with it. The SBA they have 3 phases: schematic, design development, construction development. And so they've already told us that we can skip the schematic due to the nature of the project, that we don't have to get into the, like if you do a new school, you would do schematic. So they've already graced us that we don't have to do that, and we can already jump into what we call the DD phase. So that saves us as far as, because anytime they review it, it's 2 weeks that they have time to review, plus it has to go to the Department of Education for review. So by just losing a phase, we're already gaining time. So this is the front entrance right now. So we'll put the new entrance right here, and then we're gonna put bollards on both sides. The windows here and here will receive, and on this side too, will receive the security film. And then basically, without having a lot of detail, you'll basically enter here, and then this window will be open or have a door to the hallway. So all traffic will go this way. So it'll be much like, in a way, the 2 high schools in Frederick County where students will and parents will come here versus go here to get to here. So it'll be all locked down right here. So a lot of this can essentially be reconfigured because they'll be here. The principal will probably stay, but some of the other elements here, this could be technically renovated a little bit to see better use of it.
Does that make sense to everybody? How that is going to unfold? Does that make sense?
So there are 2 windows in the classroom right here, but it's my understanding that they'll be allowed to go.
Yeah. So right now, Dixie, right there where if you go up to Moorfield Middle, you're going straight in and you're entering into that main hallway. So that red will be a new
Oh, okay,
addition.
Sure.
Does that
I
make
see.
sense
This will be
now?
a vestibule basically, so you'll have another
Yeah.
set of doors. So this will be a vestibule. So instead of just opening straight to the corridor and letting that cold air in during the winter, it'll be a vestibule lock. And then that way, when someone enters, they won't come from here, be wide open here to get to here. They'll be essentially in here.
So the secretary will be in this new
Oh, she'll be
office up
moving out
there.
the
Yeah.
And she'll be out there to
That was my
operate
question.
the doors.
But it's my understanding that initially, and this may change as we go through the development stage, that the principal will stay here.
And he has a door out into that hallway, so he'll be directly across. And then we were able to, when we talked about it originally, we were thinking maybe because the counselor, the social worker, the nurse, making that more like a social, emotional, mental health, physical health, suite where all those resources are provided in there. And then the principal's available right there on the end too.
What's the size of the red part, large part?
If I had to just offhand guess, I think it's 1,200 square feet approximately.
Pretty
What
good.
we figured.
And what did you say those dots are?
These are basically those concrete
Barriers,
columns,
yeah.
the
So
bollards,
somebody
just
Can't run through the- yep.
Vehicle or something through, okay.
And those will be removable for snow or anything else that Mr. C needs. And those will be both here and there. And that's just the safety precaution so nobody can drop straight through.
Yeah.
And there's a film that goes on windows that is not resistant but does shatter guard, and that'll be put on this is the art room, correct?
Yes.
The art room, the cafeteria, and the backside, as well as any new glass that would go in here.
So on the back side, the 55 side, someone would enter and they would just be in the trap right there.
If they would come in the other side, I think she's asking like, why is it red? What are we doing there that's
That
different?
was the potential that we could technically do another vestibule out there, or we could just leave it and address it with just film, and those doors would essentially be locked at all times,
Mhm.
unless there was a need to, students could always, you could always exit. But essentially that would be,
Student drop off.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. The main hub of anybody coming into the
Would be
building
the-
would be the
right.
front. Yeah, it would be this side now on the Caledonia's entrance side. Which is really how it is now.
Dropped off in the morning, and back there.
The car riders that are dropped off on the back
Yeah.
loop now.
Yes.
They still gonna be
On the
dropped
back
there?
loop now. And they could still do that, yes, because it would just be a student entering when the doors are unlocked for them to come in the mornings anyway. But they would be locked at all other times.
Okay, that wouldn't change, all right.
but from a safety standpoint, they would, during the day, if there was a fire, they could
Get out of it.
go.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you have any questions?
And if someone wanted to come into the school, can they just come in when they're dropping the car riders off and?
We have people standing out
I
there.
would say everybody's, a lot of people do get
There's
that.
duties.
Yeah, the duties in the morning. But yeah, they could, but that's any of our buildings right now. Unfortunately, we have the,
And most of the time, we're like, we're not recognize you, you're not walking up with a student.
Yeah, they're gonna say, what are you here for? Or
Yeah.
may I help you or
And
something?
There's usually 2 or 3 on either side.
yeah.
You can get in on you and I, did they?
Okay.
Any questions?
It looks very nice, the way you all tuck that in.
I will say that
On
we
the
looked,
other schools and stuff, it should be nice.
we looked at this several different ways before we submitted, to see if we could get the grant for the SBA. And this was the best, we felt like, way to put it, because any other way, we would be blocking the flow of traffic within inside the school. And it would create, I think, more issues than helpful.
Yeah, coming out instead of going in was, yeah. I agree with that.
Sarah, you did see that blue Viking, didn't you? Blue.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, Siri. Siri thinks you're talking to her. Oh, now mine's talking. Gosh. Anyway, thanks, Allegra. Anything else for Allegra before we vote? Okay.
Good job.
Thank you. Okay.
So we would just need a
You used to
motion.
work with Mike Abernathy, didn't you?
Yeah.
Spencer's
Yeah.
wife.
We're childhood friends.
Ah.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He does. He's never home. All he does is, I think, sail now.
Lucky
He
him.
does,
Yeah.
he's building stuff a boat.
Okay.
He did, yeah.
He goes
That's
all
cool.
over the place. Yeah, he's a good guy.
That's very cool. So we have to vote to approve that as them as the firm.
Okay.
So we'll need a motion for approval for that one.
Is there a timeline for this, for these,
Timeline, she's
projects to
asking,
take place?
next summer.
Basically, yes. That'll be our goal
Yeah, our goal will be next summer, Janet.
for work.
To get,
Okay.
yeah, to get it, the project, it's, yeah, the actual.
On task, this fall's opening, but next year,
The
Yes.
construction will be, yes.
okay.
Okay, so it looks like, does anybody have any more questions? It looks like that we need a motion to accept
ZMM.
ZMM as our architectural firm for the East Hardy Elementary School door and window upgrades and Moorfield Middle School safe school entrance.
So moved.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So it's approved by
Thank you.
that. And let's see, attachments 7 and 8. Attachment 7 was that one, Mike?
Yes, basketball camp.
Was for basketball camp. If we want to go ahead and see,
So moved.
have a motion, second, to approve attachment 7 for Mr. Mack for his basketball camp, I guess it is.
Mm-hmm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and it's approved by that. And number 8 is a little different. It's an application to use the school facility. It's Jennifer C. and Kendra Weiss. Is that-
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and they want to do a gymnastics thing, and they've asked that we waive the rental fee.
So what you're getting this for is the board has to approve any group that wants to use it that's making personal profit. So the superintendent can waive the fee, but I can't even consider any of that or even discuss any of that until you guys decide if you're going to let them use it. And they're asking for it. I believe it's 4 days a month, every Monday, four Mondays a month. I believe year round.
Oh, is it year round?
From September to May,
Yeah. So
2
school.
hours on every Monday.
That's what they're requesting from you. So I guess first we need to address. And I had them I asked them to send their budget because I knew you guys would probably want to know what, and they included, with their budget, they included the fee of the $225 a day in determining they have gymnasium rental fee, $900 monthly cost. So they included that in figuring their profit and their, which would be a surplus of $975 a month if they paid the $225. But because it's personal gain, the agreement and the policy says that the board has to approve that piece of it first.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Do we have discussion before or after?
After a
I have to
motion.
bring the motion up first.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve attachment 8 for their use of the facilities. All those in favor?
Question,
Okay.
what age group?
Hold on, let's see, because I want to say
Because if it's twist and tumble, I think it's very young.
I'm assuming it's going to be elementary age and up. I'm sure they'll start them at 4 or 5, maybe younger.
I guess my question is, I mean, I think it's a wonderful thing for the area. So charging them the rental fee, is that going to possibly prevent them from doing this activity with the kids? And that's where
Well, they
concerns
haven't.
me that, you know, I know we got bills to pay, the electric and all that. And I guess restroom, that's, we deal with that at the fair all the time. You know, people think they use fairgrounds free, but well, we got electric, we got
Yeah.
water, we got all kinds of.
So I would tell you that we'll skip ahead because right now the question is, do you want to let them use it because they're going to be making a profit? And if you're okay with that, you guys would have to vote on that. If you say yes, that they can. Yeah, so if you guys say, yeah, we know they're gonna make a profit, but we're gonna let them use it even if the fee's being charged, that's the first decision that has to be made. And then my thought is that they do have to be charged something. And I would tell you, because you have electricity, you have all of those pieces, and you want to make sure that you're remaining consistent. Because while we know these ladies and they're fantastic people and they I'm sure will do a lovely job with kids, and we know they're our employees, so we have experience with them. That's not always going to be the case. And so we just want to be consistent in the decisions that we make long-term and setting a precedence of how we're going to handle that. So if we would waive the fee because we know them, and then it would be unfair to the next group that comes along that we don't know, that maybe we don't think will do a great job, then we would have to treat them the same way. So I think that because it's a long-term rental, I think that you do have to charge them something. Now, they're only asking to use it 2 hours a day and not the whole day, where the daily fee is $225. My thoughts would be, if you approve them, that you would need to prorate it based upon an hourly rate out of that $225. If $225 is 8 hours, then we would do the math and figure that out.
Maybe
all right,
lay this
if
on
we,
the table. Lay this motion on the table.
$50 a time or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you would just have to break it down to what you're going to charge them. I think Janet had a question.
I do have a question. If we lower it to such a low rate, then that definitely increases their profit, which should somehow be reflected in them charging the kids less. And I know we can't control that, but if we reduce the charge to, I think I heard $50 a time, that means they're going to be paying $200 a month, having an extra $700 a month profit, which is going directly into their checkbook and not benefiting the kids.
So our policy doesn't really have anything to do with the business plan or the budget of the folks asking to rent it. We would have to look at it purely on the basis of, one, are you guys going to allow them to rent it and make a profit? And then 2, are we going to waive any or all or percentage of the fee? I don't think you can, I mean, I understand for sure what you're saying, Janet, but I don't think that based on our policies, we can fairly consider that.
Well, and their
Yeah.
budget's based on 50 student enrollment. How do they know they're going to have 50?
They might have 20 or they might have
Right.
75.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have any idea
So that's
on that
not-
end of it.
When there was a former employee, a former teacher that had a gymnastics business,
Mhm.
she didn't pay anything, did she?
See, that was gone before my time here as superintendent. So I don't know the answer to that. We talked a little bit about that too. I know there was an issue with that person and that group maybe having insurance or the coverage piece, which was
I think that's when we put the policy in.
that they
for the
had to have
fees.
the insurance
Well,
and
and
or
the
and the
fees.
fees. And then maybe they stopped using it then when the fees were in place.
was in that time frame.
Yeah, but I don't have the knowledge. Yeah, we have a,
I have another question when I can ask.
Go ahead.
All right, what kind of liability risk are we assuming if we allow this to go on? Because neither of these people involved have any training in gymnastics coaching.
so they have to have the business license and they have to have the $1 million liability policy that is required by our policy.
But they don't have to know anything about gymnastics.
Well, again, I think as long as they have the liability coverage, we're covered because they have the liability coverage regardless of what their experience is, because we're not promoting them as a business. We're giving them access to our building through a rental process. And I'm looking at Oren. Janet, you
correct.
can't see that, but
Yeah, we don't have to, having that insurance policy covers the concerns over the level of expertise, if you will, for the business. You know, much like any new business or any venture like that, the level of expertise and that they have in starting that is normally minimal. So that's why you have those insurance policies that are blanket across the board for anybody that would be using the facilities.
yeah. I guess similarly, we rent to, like Little League Basketball has to provide a policy, and they're not making a profit, but none of the folks that are coaching necessarily have experience at any level with basketball, but the policy just covers the organization or group as a whole. This would be the same thing. They have a business license and they have a policy to cover them.
But those people are not making a profit. They're not setting it up as a business.
Right, but that doesn't impact our liability, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Liability wise, it's all the same. The difference here is our policy requires you guys to vote as to whether or not you're going to let somebody use our building to make a profit. That's ultimately the question you have to vote on today. These individuals are personally going to profit from the use of the building. So you have to decide if you're okay with that.
What does our policy say? I can't remember it.
It says,
Get a copy of that. Maybe you all did see that.
it's not on this, is it? Okay.
We already do that, don't we? The one we just voted for was the same way, it's for profit.
That's what you were voting for the last one. Yeah. The difference between the last one and this one is that's for a 1-week camp.
Right.
And this is for a year round.
Yeah, I was just thinking for the
Mondays.
profit of it. It's not starting until September, so we have to make.
You're wanting to table it is what you're
Yes,
asking?
ma'am.
Yeah,
Rather, so we could,
absolutely.
maybe even get them in here to talk to us.
Sure. Yeah.
Because like I said, I don't want to open up a can of worms for, you don't charge someone and.
Yeah, it's difficult. It is. And I know
I
that
agree with you, Doug.
we've had churches and stuff that want to use the school, and we've not done that. And
Yeah, you guys can table it for sure. Just
I'm gonna make motion table this.
Second.
so we have a motion and a second to table this. All those in favor of tabling? So it's,
and you want it back on the first meeting in July, and you want them to, you want us to ask them to come and answer questions? Okay, we can do that.
what questions do you have? I mean, I don't want us to ask inappropriate questions about their business and stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think we can ask that. I think
No,
we're
I
gonna get in
don't
trouble
think that we can.
Well.
because that's none of our business.
I think we
I
need
think
to
you
decide,
said-
yes.
Okay, we're
they
worried
can-
more about the liability. In any startup business,
Can we ask them if they have liability?
So they,
Oh, they have to have it.
yeah, they say on here that prior to that first event, they would provide us with it. And our policy states if we don't have it in hand, we don't give them building access. So the liability side of it is not an issue. That's covered. They have to have the liability insurance or they can't.
We don't have to ask them
So,
that question.
yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, if you just want to know what
Right.
type of,
Well, and
Information, it's an
ages.
informational.
okay.
Ages of the
Presentation.
children that they'll, but
There you
yeah,
go.
just real general things, because I don't think we want to ask questions. You know, sometimes we get a little Well, I know I ask in-depth stuff, and it's none of our
I just know
business.
Pendleton County's doing something similar, not in the school system, but they have a group up there or a husband-wife team that's been doing it for years.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of kids involved. A
Oh,
lot.
I think it'd be
Yeah.
great.
I think it's a wonderful
Oh, it's
idea.
good for them, get some exercise and stuff.
I think so too, but, well, I don't think we need to, look, I just don't think we need to get that involved.
Okay, so this is tabled and we'll make a decision, it'll come off the table
July
and
7th,
we'll
right?
decide what we're gonna do at the July 7th board meeting. And if that's not convenient with them, we can keep it on the table,
Sounds good. I'll ask him.
okay?
That'll work.
So next up, board member superintendent discussion, no, action may be taken.
I have a couple of things for you.
Did we lose you?
I apologize, there's something disconnected me, but I'm back. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to just give you this information. This is the last 6 years of RLA and math or 3rd through 8th grade proficiency levels. And the first page I think is math and the second one's reading, or vice versa. It's just for your information. Hopefully by the next meeting, I'm going to have updated data for you. So I thought maybe you would want to see this. It was actually one of the things that there are. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's a different thing. One of the things that you'll see is there are blue highlighted counties and white highlighted counties. And the only difference in that is that the blue are the school systems that use iReady, which is the diagnostic that we're getting ready to move to. The white are the ones that do not. And so you'll see we're a highlighted white county. He gave us that information when we were reviewing a few things, and I thought since it was already put together nicely, you might want to see that. They organize them highest to lowest based on the far right column, which is the last year's data. So I just figured you would be interested in having that. So I'm just sharing that with you so you'll have a point of reference all in one place when we get our 25 data in, and we're able to share that with you. So I wanted you to have a copy of that. Another thing I wanted to share with you is we have quadrants. The state's broken down into quadrants, and Eastern Panhandle is quadrant 4. And one of the things that we had to submit that goes through to the State Department it goes into the annual report that the State Board of Education gets, would be this document that I'm giving you. And it is concerns and issues. And you'll see a series of, I believe, 7 questions, and you'll see the responses that we are providing. Again, just wanted to give it to you as an FYI. It highlights instructional challenges, employing and retaining highly qualified educators, funding challenges, safety challenges, social emotional well-being challenges, infrastructure challenges, and miscellaneous. And I thought maybe this would be just something for you guys to read over, so you know that as we roll into this next school year, what we're working on with the rest of the counties to try to focus as a state on things we need to improve. So these were the things that we submitted from Hardy County. And then the last thing, as you know, there's a group that is working in Oldfields right now to put in a large solar farm. And they've been meeting. I know, Dixie, they had met with you and they've met with me several different times. And they came by again and shared their most recent informational flyer. And so they asked that I distribute that to board members just so you had a heads up. They have not gotten approval for this project yet. It's been years in the works. And I believe it's the end. There's a timeline in there that you'll be able to look at, but it's a large portion of Oldfields that they're actually working in this. Yeah. So I wanted to hand that out so you would have that also. So 6-year transits.
Don't think so. I think it's
Oh, really? Okay.
You'll see the map. If you flip to that back page, I think, is it? Oh, yeah, there is a, on that last inner page, inside of the last page, you'll see the area. And if you flip to the back, I think the orange gives you so it's quite a piece of property that they're working their way through. And I just wanted to be able to share that with you.
Yeah, I met with Mary Ann and also with Eric, and very nice people. In fact, they're who did the American Woodmark.
I don't, are you sure about that?
I thought they told me they did.
Okay, I think they told me they didn't.
Okay.
Because I
okay,
specifically asked that after you and I had talked.
okay,
And she
so
was
they
going to
didn't.
try to find out who did the American Woodmark piece.
Okay, well, you'd be correct then.
Yeah, but
But
Turkeys every morning.
I think that they want to put stuff on the motel.
I don't know.
South Ranch Inn, yeah, they said they're
Okay.
working with them for a project.
Okay. We didn't talk about that. They just went through county needs and potential funding that we would receive from this. I know they're working with EMS to fully fund the EMS services as part of the profit that'll come out of this project. Plus, we'll get an additional chunk of revenue if it's approved and they move into this area too. But I told them I would share that informational flyer, and that's all that I had.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Is there, have you been working with cell phone policy any degree?
Yeah, so Moorfield High School, well, Amanda Campbell and some students from there, Derek Parks and Scott Stutler have worked on a draft. And we actually have a meeting date of July the 8th to go over what we hope will be a preliminary policy at that point to present to you guys to get approved. So we'll have that in place. But yes, we have been working on that. And Orrin just went to his training last week with Bowles Rice through all the new legislative stuff. So we'll be presenting that to you here very soon, along with several others. Yeah, pretty intensive.
And the school mapping, they're calling it.
Yes.
Working on that one also.
Yes, and we've Josh, I believe, spoke with a vendor for the mapping.
Yes.
The gentleman that had reached out to you.
Yes.
Do you have an update on that?
Zach Query, yeah, so he just got approved. He is through all of the state.
The funding that they're providing? Yeah.
That does need to be approved, and they're going to do it for $4,250. The state is, I believe, giving us $4,500 per school, $4,250. This gentleman, Zach Query was his name. He's a former Delta operator, so it's a military style map. So they're.
And it's guaranteed, I think, to meet all the state's
Guaranteed.
requirements,
They
but
come in and do it all, yeah.
yeah, but he met with him last week.
Last week.
Yeah. So yeah, we're working on that piece too.
Anybody else have anything? Okay, future agenda items. Anybody have anything they want to make sure it's on the agenda? Okay, moving on to announcements then. Our next board meeting will be July 7th at 5 o'clock here at the Board of Education building. Mission statements and accomplishments.
Josh's buses look nice. I like that. We'll do that every year.
They do look nice out there. Yeah,
look
they do.
nice.
They are.
Fills up an empty space and they really shine. Look
Yeah.
really clean.
Don't see weeds. Don't see the weeds.
I never thought about that.
Maybe it'll kill some of them.
How about state champs?
Go East Hardy, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, our East Hardy baseball boys are the single A state champs. And
Well,
it's
and we're the
wonderful.
volleyball girls runners up,
Weren't who?
a
The
girls
girls
team,
runners
so
up.
the,
Yes, it's been a while, but
team runners up.
Yeah.
I forget which one.
East Hardy's girls were
East
runners
Hardy,
up. Yeah,
okay.
it's just been a minute.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a good year for them. Anybody have anything else? All right, now we move on to personnel.
Any need to go into executive session for any of those personnel? Everybody good?
Is anybody?
All right, I recommend the approval of the personnel actions as presented to you.
Motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
A motion and a second to approve the personnel actions that are recommended by the superintendent, for June 9th, 2025. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm going to abstain since I don't have those and can't see, so I will abstain.
Okay, so it's 4 in favor and 1 abstention.
It's because I don't know what the I don't have that information.
That's fine.
Okay.
Anything else to come before the board this evening?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So we are adjourned at 5:51.